Thank you very much. Yeah, you can hear me well. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm really delighted to be here with you in this fantastic conference. So I'm Mathieu Lefebvre, as you say, co-founder of Waga Energy. And I really first want to thank Dr. Lefebvre and the ACATIS team for supporting Waga during the last fundraising in March, and for inviting me here today and to give me the opportunity to present Waga Energy. So I'm an engineer by training. I've started my career within Air Liquide in 2003, developing first the hydrogen energy, but then I've set up the biogas activity in 2007, considering that renewable natural gas or biogas is really a key pillar for the energy transition. Decided to quit Air Liquide in 2015 to launch Waga Energy in order to speed up the fight against climate change by focusing on a niche market, which is the landfill gas upgrading. We've succeeded in developing the first ever project in 2017, injecting renewable gas in the grid in France. And since we have go through the domestic rollout in France, an IPO in 2021, and we are now deploying the solution in the US. So Waga Energy is really at the crossing of climate, waste, and energy that are really macro trends that are super critical for humankind. Big challenges. Humankind produces huge amount of waste, that is also an energy. We have to fight against climate change, and especially methane. I will come back to that. And on the energy side, 85% of the energy we consume comes from fossil fuels, so we need to find renewable substitute. You will see how Waga is really at the center of this triangle. First, just a few words about what I do consider that the top priority in terms of climate, methane. We often speak about carbon dioxide coming from the combustion of fossil fuels, but in fact, there is a much more urgent gas to tackle, which is methane, because methane on a 20 years basis has a global warming impact of 84 times the one of CO2. And the lifetime of methane in the atmosphere is 10 years. So if we have something to do in the next decade is fight against methane emissions. And there is few methane emitters, but there is one methane emitter which is landfills. The landfill is where we deposit all the municipal solid waste in most of the countries in the world. 80% of the waste ends up in landfills. What is great, and thanks to another breakthrough technology, is that now, thanks to the satellites, methane emissions are scrutinized from the Earth, the sky. So we can see the quantity of methane that is emitted from landfills. I would say waste management companies are not able to hide anymore their pollution. So that's a good booster for considering this problem. Very quickly, but Germany is a very well-known country in the biogas industry because you are really a pioneering country. Biogas is neutral on climate because we do not extract carbon from the ground. We are using carbon in the short carbon cycle. So it's a renewable energy, which is really great because it's an hydrocarbon, so it's a direct substitute of other forces like fuels, gas, or coal. Renewable natural gas has many advantages, so it's going to rise strongly in the coming years. I would say the future, in my point of view, will be really to have an energy mix which will be half of renewable power coming from photovoltaics, wind turbine, hydraulics, and half from renewable gas, because we need hydrocarbon for heavy transportation, to decarbonize heat on industry, chemicals, etc. And renewable natural gas has great advantages because it's coming from biomass, and biomass is well spread all over the world, and it uses the same infrastructure. We do not have to invest in massive new infrastructure. We do already have all the pipeline, the boilers, the cookers, the industry that runs with gas. And biogas is also a local product. And we all learn along the last 2 years the cost of dependency. And it's not only a money cost, it's a human cost, it's a geopolitical cost. So being able to develop a local renewable gas that will substitute fossil fuels that we import is really, really critical. I'll skip this one. So something which is not very well known in Europe in general, especially in Germany, I would say, is that most of the waste humankind is producing ends up in landfills. So we are talking about roughly 2 billion tons of waste per year. In France, it's 20 million tons, 1%. So we have to look abroad, not only in our border. Once waste are landfilled, the organic matter breaks down, like in your stomach, and will produce a methane-rich gas. And the quantity of waste humankind is producing, is there a... No, well. The quantity of waste humankind is producing will rise to 3.5 billion tons by 2050 because of urbanization and population growth. So the concern of today, which is already massive, will increase over the coming years. So from this, I would say, diagnostic, we need to substitute fossil fuels. We need to fight against methane emissions, but renewable natural gas is a key pillar for the energy transition. We really decided to find a solution to that and to make it competitive, because the most powerful instrument we have today is the market. When you have a competitive product, you find billions to deploy it. Renewable energies, wind turbine and photovoltaics, has gone through that in the 2010, 2012. It's now massively deployed because the power is sold on a merchant basis. We decided to focus on landfill gas because 90% of the gas coming from landfill is wasted. Half of it is released to the atmosphere, big impact on climate, and half of it is flared. So it's a waste of energy which is insane. A part of the gas was burned in engine to produce power, but why producing power with a very low efficiency when we need gas for hard-to-abate sector? And this power production is super expensive, much more expensive than power production from wind turbine or photovoltaics. So the right things to do with this gas is to capture it to avoid climate change and to turn it into biomethane to substitute fossil fuels. It's what we've been able to do with the Waga box. I will explain you really the differentiating factors on why it was so hard to use this energy for the last decade. A landfill is a very big site where all the garbage, are deposits. There is an open sales and the closed sales. To capture this gas, you have to deploy a gas collection system, which is pipes that are connected together, and you apply vacuum to suck the gas from the site. By applying vacuum, you have air intakes. If you apply a strong vacuum, you will have a lot of air. If you apply a low vacuum, you will capture only a portion of the gas, so it means that a lot of methane will be released to the atmosphere. So the gas you get from the landfill is not like gas from anaerobic digestion facility that you can find in Germany. There is air mixed with methane. This is very difficult to split. And it's a shame because a landfill is a great resource because it's very predictable for decades. It's local, and we know exactly what can be the production and the cost of production. So it's a strategic resource for an oil and gas company today. What we did, and the idea raised in 2007, once we have identified this problem, is that we couple the membrane separation with the cryogenic distillation. Membrane separation to split carbon dioxide from biogas, which is widely used in the biogas industry, and cryogenic distillation, because it's using cryogenic is greatly much more efficient than any other process to separate methane from nitrogen and oxygen that are light gases. And in fact, cryogenic distillation is a technology on which Air Liquide has been founded in 1902, 120 years ago. So we were experts in cryogeny. By doing that, so using the cryogeny to increase the selectivity to separate this gas, we are able to keep a very high performance, so a high recovery rates in comparison to competing technologies. So that means that this is a game-changing technology for landfill owners, because it means that they can capture all this gas. They will make money. It's the best incentives you can have, without any concern about nitrogen and oxygen, regardless the quality. So doing that, giving an incentive to landfill owners to capture this gas without any constraint, increase dramatically the quantity of gas we can capture and avoid methane emission. And it means also more revenue, more gas that is injected in the natural gas grid. So this performance, this cryogenic distillation, allows landfill owners to not be constrained in the quantity of gas that they will recover. So we have a double impact on climate change. We avoid methane emission, and we substitute fossil fuels with renewable gas. This is how it looks like. And as this process can be used regardless of the quality, we can have a standardized approach, modular and standardized. Standardized approach means lower price, lower cost, because the idea for Waga Energy is really to be able to produce a competitive gas, to not rely on public money, on government policy. Because if you rely on government, you know the volatility, especially on renewables. And you know there is no renewable policy in Chile, in Colombia, in India, or in these countries. So if you want to deploy this great energy everywhere, you need to be competitive on a merchant basis. So a great technology and a standardized process. But this, we are coming from Air Liquide, a gas company. This gas plant, because it's a gas plant, it's a small refinery, we were not, well, we have some doubt of being successful if we have to sell it to landfill managers that are not at all in this business. So we decided, inspired by Air Liquide business model, to not to sell it, but to develop the project to own and operate this plant. So to be a biomethane producer, to offer a solution to the market. So in fact, we are the missing link between waste management company and landfill on utilities. We buy the gas from Veolia, from Suez, from waste management, and we sell biomethane to Total, to BP, Air Liquide, and others. So there is no capex for the landfill managers, and we turn a pollution into a resource, a cost into a revenue, and we offer to utilities the cheapest renewable alternative to fossil fuels. And we are looping the circular economy thanks to this. Doing that, it allows us to improve our technology every project we are developing. Every innovation, every new idea when we face or new challenge we face in developing a project or in operating a plant is an opportunity for us to improve our own efficiency. So it takes a couple of months to develop the project, to build the trust with the landfill owner, and then we build the project, 1 to 2 years roughly, before having long-term contract, 20 years with predictable revenue to finance the project through that. We started in France, the domestic market, before expanding in North America, where there is thousands of opportunities. I don't have the time, Dr. Lefebvre. How much time do I have? Okay, oh yeah, there is a clock close there, thanks. I don't want to be too long and keep time for questions. So European, you know, there is roughly 500 million people, so it's just a part of the market. We really focus in the US because 80% of waste in the US ends up in landfills. There is 330 million inhabitants, a huge quantity of waste which is produced by the population, so it's a key market. But tomorrow we will also expand in South America and Asia next. So to sum up, a big differentiation on the technology first. We are engineers. We have developed this technology, but then we developed it in in vertically integrated business model to be sure that every project is going to be a success. Otherwise, we won't make money and be profitable. We are identified as a pure player, so no dispersion. We are super focused, and we are able to have this standardized approach that will allow us to produce competitive gas. All of these advantages, or this strategy, allows us to develop a significant pipeline, 2.2 terawatt-hour of projects that are under construction or under operation, already signed, which represents roughly 100 million turnover yearly for 20 years. And we have 12 terawatt-hour of project under development, which is roughly 2.5 billion euros investment to be done to turn this pipeline into project. If we want to turn all the production of landfill gas, which is roughly 1,000 terawatt-hour in the world, that's representing $80 billion equivalent of gas per year, it's roughly $200 billion to be invested over the coming years. And this is just few % of the potential of biogas. So there is a lot to do in the coming years. Well, Europe, just a few words about USA. As you can see, in France, we have 100, 150 landfills, small size. In the US, 2,700 landfills. 1,700 landfills owned by public bodies. All of them has to be equipped. There is less than 100 projects already built, 25 by Waga. And there is some potential as well in Canada. It's not so easy to overcome the US step for a small French company in the Alps. So it was a big commitment from us. My associate Genael moved to Philadelphia in 2019. We have our business development hub in Miami. But over the last 2-3 years, we have really been able to crack the US business. We've signed 2 days ago another big project in Texas, very nice. And we have 30 projects in development, well advanced in the US. But we have already 11 projects running or under construction in the Northeast for almost 200 million investments ongoing. So we are really proud of that, and we are really now, we'll be able to duplicate and to deploy this innovation all over the USA. And as renewable natural gas market in the USA is very mature, this will allow us to, I would say, make profits that will be used to expand in other countries in the world. Well, we switch that. Just a word about the market. So in the USA, we have quite a similar system like in Europe with the biofuel incorporation in the fuel mix. There is an obligation in Europe, the 5-10% of ethanol in the fuels. In the US, it's the same. Refiners and oil importers have the obligation to incorporate a proportion of fuels produced from biomass in their mix. And renewable natural gas is part of this. So there is a market which is called the RFS, Renewable Fuel Standards, that oblige them to incorporate this. And this has been done by Bush son, so 20 years ago. So it's a bipartisan mechanism because conservators and Democrats like it. Bush likes it because conservators like it because it supports the Midwest farmers, and Democrats like it because it's renewable energy. But now there is another booster, the IRA. Renewable gas is eligible to the IRA, which is a 30% tax credit. It's a great booster because everybody now speed up to be eligible and to start the construction of the project before the end of the year. This is how it looks like. This is a small Waga box, 1,000 SCFM. Such a project will produce roughly 6 million liters of gasoline equivalent per year from a gas that was up to now flared, wasted. So it's pure value creation. We've inaugurated this plant a few weeks ago, and it's up and running for 2 months now with a contract for 20 years of recurring revenues. And we will not stop here. We are already starting to seed in some strategic countries like Brazil, Mexico. It's really simple. Brazil, 220 million people. Sao Paulo is very rich. There is big landfills, a huge opportunity to turn all this gas into a competitive gas and need gas, so we can deploy there. Mexico is the same. Mexico is connected to the USA through the pipeline, so 130 million inhabitants, there is a huge potential of waste to be turned into renewable energy. And what we foresee after the COVID crisis, year 1, year 2, the war in Ukraine, the energy crisis, the inflation, all of this macro trend reinforced the fundamentals of Waga Energy. And in the coming years, when you add all the objectives of private companies, of institutions, of governments, I don't know how we will produce all the renewable natural gas the market is demanding. We will be short in production. So it's great for Waga because the price of natural gas is quite high and we are competitive to deliver this gas, but there is big challenges to deploy fast enough to follow the demand, which is absolutely massive. You will see that our objective for 2026 is 4 terawatt-hour, which is already a massive objective for a company like Waga. It means tens and tens of Waga box, hundreds of millions of investments, and it's 1% of just the European objective. The US objective is the same, 400 terawatt-hour, and on that you addition all the objective of private companies. So it's a massive opportunity, and we will be short in production. Who is interested by our gas? Final consumers. We have some people interested in buying biomethane to substitute the fossils, but big utilities like Total Energy, Engie, final consumers like Amazon, or big maritime transportation company like CMA CGM. Just to give you some order of magnitude, CMA CGM, big maritime transportation company, they consume 100 terawatt-hour of energy per year. It's 1/4 of total French gas consumption per year. It's massive. And the head of CMA CGM has decided to invest in 90 ships running on gas. So it's a massive demand for renewable gas in the coming years because they will have to substitute step by step natural gas by renewable natural gas. On renewable natural gas, why we are competing today with fossil fuels and why it's so strategic for oil and gas company, it's grid compliant, so we can use infrastructure. It's locally produced, so you get rid of geopolitical constraints and stress. It's a renewable energy. It's totally predictable in terms of quantity and price without any correlation with the volatility of other fossils. So it's a great resource for them to start to switch to the next world, to the future worlds of renewable energy. There is some other opportunities that are not yet taken into account in our business plan, but that could come in the coming months or years. We are marketing the gas only by substituting fossil fuels with renewable natural gas, fossil gas with renewable natural gas. So it's 2 kilos of CO2 avoided by cubic meters of methane. That's great. This leads to 750,000 tons of savings emissions. But if you consider how much methane we have avoided, methane emissions, knowing that methane is 84 times warmer than CO2, it's millions of tons that we could avoid. So if tomorrow there is really a carbon price, a price for carbon avoided, our gas will be even more competitive. It will be below zero, I would say, thanks to the efficiency of this process and the fact that we are avoiding methane emission upstream in the landfill. So I will skip this, but very quickly. In order to deploy widely this technology, we have to standardize. This is how it looks like for the US market. This is the 3 products we are developing. And if the site is bigger than 3,000 SCFM, then we add this modular approach. Few pictures just to show you that it's not a concept, you know. We have already 25 projects up and running, all remotely controlled, and you can see that they all looks like the same because we really try to standardize, to duplicate these solutions. From very small first project, where we were producing the equivalent of 2 million liters of gasoline per year, to the largest plant today, built with Air Liquide together, where we are producing how much? I think it's 5 gigawatt. I don't remember. Probably 100 million liters per year, equivalent, or something like that. It's big. It's 50 times the first one. Well, I will skip that. In order to deploy this technology and this solution and to create value, as you asked me, Dr. Lefebvre, you need to find money, a lot of money to finance the project. Track records in terms of availability, of performances and recovery rate are really key to sign and re-sign and have happy customers like Veolia, Suez, Casella in the US, and to make bank lenders confident with our solution. Well, we are an ESG company for sure. So the way we address this challenge, how to finance hundreds of millions of dollars project per year, that in fact we are a mix of Air Liquide business model. You know, you do not sell the co, you sell the milk, and you maintain the co. It's exactly the same. So we invest the plant, and we run the plant over long-term contracts, but we do not have the balance sheet of Air Liquide. So we have been inspired as well by large IPPs, Neoen and so on. So we develop our project in SPVs, special purpose vehicles. These vehicles are financed by 20% equity from our equity and 80% of bank debt at a very low cost because our projects are totally predictable thanks to the long-term contract. Well, this I will skip. You can see that this business model with this technology and with the great team we have allow us to speed up the growth and to start to deploy widely now the Waga box in 4 countries, soon 6, with 100 million euros of turnover, which is already secured for the next 20 years. So this is our objective, and as I told you, 4 terawatt-hour is already an ambitious objective, but it's a very small portion of everything we should produce to fulfill the demand for renewable natural gas. And doing that, we will avoid 660,000 tons of CO2, which is already great, but not enough. We have to speed up to save millions of tons of CO2 emission per year. Yeah, I will skip that. To keep time, some questions. So we have 15 minutes for questions. Thank you, and yeah, I'm fully available to answer your question if you may have.